So here I have the Pocket 3 and the new Insta360 X4. The Pocket 3 has a 1-inch sensor, 10-bit colors, and a price tag of $519. And the X4 has 8K resolution, shoots all type of videos, has an optimized half-inch sensor, and a price tag of $500. So which one should you actually buy if you can only pick one? As you may understand, these are two completely different products, two completely different cameras, so a head-to-head comparison makes no sense. One is mainly made for cinematic, travel, vlog, and studio use videos, I would say, the Pocket 3, and the other one is made to capture everything with minimal effort, the X4. But when it comes to these cameras, it will mainly be your creativity that sets the limits, although one limit is already set for the Pocket 3 because it can't shoot 360 videos. But in today's video, I will do my best to highlight these two cameras in the best possible way, and hopefully by doing so, you will have a better understanding of which of these two cameras you should get. Ultimately, you might want to get both, but sitting at $500 and $519, these cameras do cost a leg each. And this is only for the standalone unit with no accessories. However, with the X4, you do get a free selfie stick when you buy from an affiliate link, like the one in the description. Now, I also want to add that this video is not sponsored by Insta360 or DJI, so all the opinions are my own. Now, let's start with the Pocket 3. Now, one of the reasons you would get the Pocket 3 is of course going to be the image quality coming from its 1-inch sensor. I mean, the image quality coming from this is untouchable, and we also have that 10-bit in all profiles now, so regardless of being a colorist or not, you can get exceptional looking videos with the tap of a button. And just so we don't get confused when it comes to slow motion, which is sort of what I filmed with the Pocket 3, in my X4 video I also said that I never use 4K 120 with these action cameras, but where I do use 4K 120 is with the Pocket 3 because it's not an action camera. So I mainly use 4K 60 because that allows me to slow it down furthermore in post to get it even more cinematic, and then I also use 4K 120 for that high-end slow motion. And when I shoot a talking head video, which I did when I was shooting my X4 review, I used 4K 30 FPS and all this with the D-Log-M color profile. And this is also the color profile that I think is the best one of them all, and even with no experience at all, you can just use the conversion LUT from DJI and you will have a good looking image in seconds. But if you want to take it a little bit further and get that extra punch, I recommend checking out my Signature LUTs down in the description below. Now, when it comes to the digital zoom on the Pocket 3, or digital zoom in general, this is something I try to avoid at all costs because I've never felt like the quality and the look is on par. But with the Pocket 3, I've found myself using this quite a lot actually, and it looks pretty darn good. Now, when it comes to user experience, the Pocket 3 is just like any other DJI product, straightforward and easy to use. You can even enable this auto record on startup, which is perfect if you don't want to miss the moment. So when this is enabled, what you do is to just flip the screen and it will start recording. Another thing I really like is how convenient the magnetic ND filters just snap on, and the fact that I can also leave them attached to the Pocket 3 when I power it off and put it back in the case is really helpful. This means there's less chance of getting fingerprints all over the ND filters when you take them on and off, which is pretty helpful when you're soaked in sunscreen. Now, another fantastic feature with the Pocket 3 is also vertical mode. The only downside or con with this would probably be that 3K resolution, but I mean for social media it actually looks pretty good. So if you're shooting a video for your YouTube channel, for example, and you want to switch it up and do some vertical content for something like Instagram, maybe a YouTube Shorts, maybe TikTok, you can just flip the screen back again and it will automatically adjust to that vertical shooting mode, which is fantastic. One more thing when it comes to recording all these videos, let's say you record everything in the normal 10-bit colors. When you're done shooting, you're done. No need to reframe or anything like that. You can just import the footage directly over to your editing software or upload it to your social media platform and the footage will look amazing. That's one of the huge benefits with the Pocket 3 because it looks amazing just straight out of camera, even with the normal color profile. Let's talk about versatility. The Pocket 3 might not be the most versatile camera compared to something like the X4 or the Action 4, for example, but it is small enough to fit in your pocket. There's also a 1/4-inch thread on the bottom to attach a tripod so you can safely put it down when you need to record a video, shoot some time-lapse, or just take a photo, which is pretty convenient. But being a cinema camera that actually fits in your pocket, I think that is versatile enough. And as of audio, I fell in love with the DJI Mic 2, and I think the Pocket 3 and this is the perfect combo if you make travel videos on the go and you need that extra punch of quality. So when it comes to the overall versatility of the Pocket 3, it's actually something that I can see myself switching to from the Sony a7S III, which I'm filming this on, because this one requires more adjustments to look good in different scenes. But the Pocket 3, not to mention the cinematic tracking and the product showcase feature on this, which is amazing, I can really see this one replace my Sony a7S III. Maybe the Pocket 4. But there's not only pros with the Pocket 3, there's also a few cons. One thing I noticed when I shot my A-roll video of the X4, which is not really a huge con, but I wanted to add it anyway, is that the white balance of the Pocket 3 kept on changing. This was of course due to the clouds coming in now and then, but the changes were actually so significant that it actually surprised me. So next time I will be using manual white balance when shooting videos like that. So completely my fault, but I think it's something that you should be aware of. The white balance of the auto white balance of the Pocket 3 is not the best. So if you're shooting standstill videos like that, make sure to use manual white balance, because if it messes up your footage, it's gonna be a con. So in my case, it messed up the footage, so I had to overlay with different videos. So yeah, a tiny con there. The next one is the flip screen, which I am a huge fan of. I really love this and it's so satisfying and convenient to use, but it's also the weakest point of the Pocket 3. So with heavy use over time, this might actually break in place, and there's a lot of people complaining about this, but personally I've never had any issues with it, but it's definitely something I'm aware of. So because there's so many people that have had this break with just minimal normal use, you know, it's gonna be a con for me. Just be aware of that. This could happen if you flip it too fast. Another one is water. The Pocket 3 is not waterproof nor water resistant, which is understandable, but it also sets some limits to where and when you can use it. The biggest one for me though is the walking shot, which is one of the reasons I mainly shoot in 4K 60 FPS or crank it up to 120. Having that up and down movement in your video looks awful, and to me this really makes the clip useless despite how good the image quality actually looks. Now, even though these are all easy to fix cons by bringing your umbrella, for example, set a manual white balance, maybe walk differently and not flip too hard, it's important to know that the Pocket 3 does also have limits. Now, let's move over to the Insta360 X4. Now, when it comes to image quality of the X4, 8K 30 FPS, it's hands down impressive, especially coming from something like the X3. Now, I also have a full comparison with the X3 and the key differences between these, which actually matters, so make sure to check that out after this one, link down in the description. Now, when it comes to the X4, we now have 8K 30 FPS or up to 30 FPS, so 8K 24, 25 and 30 FPS, and this is a huge improvement in resolution over the X3, which had 5.7K. And what this means is that the final export after reframing will have a higher pixel count than the X3. So with the X3 the image looked closer to 1440p, but with the X4 it now looks closer to 4K in the center. So the way it works in reality is that the image will look the best in the middle and then gradually look worse towards the edges. Now, this has nothing to do with the export itself, it's just how the 360 videos look. But the most amazing part about this is that you can adjust yourself. You can adjust everything yourself. So if you don't want this to be distorted, well, you select the mega view in camera, or you can even do this in the app. And when you edit the video, you also have the options like narrow or linear, which will zoom in and remove more of those pixelated edges. So you basically have endless options to make this look exactly how you like, which is a good thing about these 360 cameras. Another feature is also the single lens mode and free frame, and when it comes to free frame quality, this looks amazing. And here you also have the option to shoot a normal straightforward video, which you can later adjust to be vertical or horizontal without having to crop the footage. Now, when it comes to user experience, this is also like any other camera. You select the mode you want to use and hit record. But the difference here is that it records everything in a 360-degree angle. And you also have that invisible selfie stick, so no matter how you hold the camera, the stick will always be invisible. And this is one of those things that just gives you that feeling of like, wow, this looks awesome. But the main reason, or I would say the highest value you get from the X4, or the most valuable experience, that's the word. The most valuable experience you get with the X4 is the fun you have. There's no other camera on this planet that I can have so much fun with. And yes, I said the same thing with the X3, but now we have the X4, which is the same camera, same 360 camera, but it's just better. Take a look at this. So none of these shots would have been possible with a different camera. Well, maybe some, but you would need to put in a lot of effort to pull it off, and that's something you might not want to do when you're out traveling on your vacation. Maybe you want to capture every single moment. You don't want to sit there trying to, figure out how to get the shots. But with a 360 camera, it films everything. Now, as of versatility, I think I covered most of that already, but we do have gesture control, which is something I use every single time I'm out riding, and this is such a useful feature. And not only that, we have the DJI Mic 2 being compatible with the X4 as well, so you can connect the DJI Mic 2 to your X4 via Bluetooth if you prefer to use better audio source, and I think this makes it even better. And you can also pair it with your intercom and stop and start record if you want to do that. And you can also take photos just by using voice commands. But what really makes it for the X4 is the ability to choose. So do you want to shoot 360 videos? Well, yeah, then you shoot 360 videos. If you want to be in frame, for example, well, then you select me mode, or maybe you want to use it as a helmet cam, then 4K single lens mode or free frame. So there's basically no limits to what you can make. Even 4K 360 slow motion now, if you want to take it all out like Bert here. So you have the power to create what you want to create, which is only possible with the 360 camera. But honestly, I do mean that. If you've been watching my X3 videos, you do know my love for these 360 cameras. And it's also waterproof down to 10 meters or 33 feet, so if you drop it in a drink, no worries, just, you know, grab it, hit record and continues. There's nothing to worry about. And also one of the things that I mean is the best stabilization ever, flow state. So if you paid attention to the clips in this video, you might have seen that all clips are perfectly stabilized thanks to the amazing flow state stabilization. So no matter how shaky you might be, the video will still look awesome. Now, despite how awesome all of this sounds, there's still gonna be some cons. Not all directed directly to the X4, but 360 cameras in general. So let's start with the size and weight. The X4 is a significantly larger unit than the X3, but the weight is only 24 grams more at 204 grams. So the weight might not be a con here, but the size is definitely bulkier, and the extra 24 grams is quite noticeable when using the 3-meter selfie stick. But hopefully we can see a new improved version of the 3-meter pole, or a new one which is slightly shorter. And the next one is a 10-bit. There is no 10-bit on the X4, and for a lot of people that is a huge con. It is a little bit of a con for me as well, because all of the cameras that I have 10-bit colors, but you know, 8-bit versus 10-bit on a 360 camera, after reframing, exporting, uploading, and the compression from YouTube, you're not going to see that much of a difference anyway. But since you don't have 10-bit, you know, I have to list this as a con. And then we have reframing. The con with this is that it takes time. It is a little bit easier now with the latest firmware update to the Studio app, but you still have to reframe your videos in order to make appealing videos. So if you don't reframe your videos, there's no point using a 360 camera. But there is options to make this easier. In the mobile app, you have all these types of AI features which will do everything for you. You can use shot labs, for example, auto edit, or you can edit a video manually if you prefer to do that. And these are all good options for something quick and easy to upload to social media. But to make something special, something awesome, manual reframing is needed, and unfortunately for some it takes longer or just looks intimidating, which is the reason you might not buy one, and is also the reason you're missing out. But hopefully my upcoming crash course on the Insta360 Studio will make it easier to understand. So make sure to hit that subscribe button and that like button and that notification button so you don't miss that video. Now the last one is a minor one, but no, actually a huge one, because it's something you need to do all the time and it's extremely important, but you know, it's pretty easy. Clean the lens. So when you're done shooting with your 360 camera and you need to shoot another video like 3 seconds later, if you put it into the pouch and take it out again, or if you have this lens cap on or something like that, when you take all of those things off, you need to check the lens to see if there is any marks, fingerprints, anything like that. And if there is, you simply have to clean it like that and it is all good to go. So that is one of the most important things with the 360 camera, because if you don't do it, your footage will look shit. It will look bad. So make sure to clean the lens. Now, both these cameras have the same price tag, so $500-ish, but it also depends on when you watch this video, the current price tag of these, and where you live. So $500, that's a lot of money. Here in Norway, for example, the X4 is actually more expensive than the Pocket 3. So the Pocket 3, $607, and the X4, $650, just to put things into perspective. So if you only have the budget to buy one, which of these should you actually get? Which is the better buy for you? There's also a fine line between amazingly awesome and speechless. I think the Pocket 3 will give you that speechless content if you make videos with a cinematic twist to it. Whether this is a cinematic vlog, documentary, or just a cinematic film, I think the Pocket 3 would be more jaw-dropping because of the quality. And then you have that amazingly awesome reframed 360 videos from the X4, which is effortless to shoot, but does not have the same image quality. I mean, it's a really hard choice. You have the best of the best from both worlds, and the both fits in your pocket. So it's extremely hard to choose. But hopefully this video could help, and whichever camera you decide to get, let me know in the comments below. Wow, that's a tricky one. Okay, see you in the next one. Bye bye.